Welcome to our regular series of educational webinars. We are Focus Point Technologies. We provide privacy and security solutions to the upper Midwest. My name is Kathy Waschenberger, and I'm the CIO of Focus Point Technologies. My background, my passion is around all aspects of privacy, data protection, cybersecurity, and overall information risk management. In many of our webinars, we have been focusing on educating you about a particular topic related to information security or data privacy. However, today we're going to be providing information on one of our most in-demand service offerings known as CISO as a service. CISO being Chief Information Security Officer. Our agenda that we're going to go through today will be to start out with the definition of CISO as a service. There's a few variations of this service, and I want to cover some of the most commonly seen versions of that. More importantly, I want to cover some of the challenges organizations are facing. So you're facing organizations in your company. Why would you even want to use a service like this? We're going to cover those. There are also variations in how you can apply this to your organization based on your needs. Certainly, of course, with all the benefits, there are also some areas that you're going to need to avoid. So I'll cover some of those common pitfalls in utilizing a CISO as a service in organizations such as your own. And finally, let's talk about where you'll get started. If this solution is something that you're interested in pursuing, we'll go through some of those next steps as well. So what is CISO as a service? CISO being Chief Information Security Officer. There's a number of terms being used in the industry today that describes it. CISO as a service is one, of course, and then virtual CISO or vCISO is something else that's also very commonly used. Also listed here are a few that are more all-encompassing terms that are also being offered in the industry. However, they really all have that same basic definition. So the definition really is an executive leader in the organization that's responsible for the privacy and or security program. Many times these job titles are CISO or CSO, Chief Security Officer, Director of Security. Many also have that responsibility for privacy programs as well. Most of that is dependent on the size of your company. This service offering assumes the position is not a full-time employee of your company. So the services provided here are on a temporary basis in a contracted role, meaning no benefits, etc. And later on, we'll talk about the many options associated with this offering. There are many variations associated with it. But first, why don't we go ahead and better understand why you might need this type of service? So some of the challenges that are occurring in the industry today, and probably many of these you're experiencing yourself, are some of the things I'd like to cover. So for each one of these, I have separate blogs that also further outline them in more detail, but at least let's go over them at a high level here. So first of all, you may need to mature your security program or just get started. There's staffing challenges in the privacy and security space. They're all around us. I'm sure we've experienced them ourselves. There's multiple sources that show the statistics around cybersecurity staffing challenges. And like I said before, we are all probably experiencing it ourselves. Not to mention hiring a leader in this area is also extremely difficult. So everyone's hearing about the latest compliance requirements as well. So who hasn't heard GDPR at least once a day over the past month, and all your emails and the various webinar messages that you're getting? So compliance is definitely an issue where you're going to be challenged, and it's definitely going forward. Budget. I'd love to just say no more there. Everyone knows that we have a low budget spend usually in security, but now you're being forced, or you're knowing that you need to hire a CISO, and that's going to be at an upward spend of $150,000 a year, and that is the minimum, mind you. So you can see there's multiple reasons, especially as your company embarks upon your SaaS or cloud, your software as a service or cloud applications, knowing those attack vectors are constantly changing and increasing. You're going to need to protect those crown jewels in your organization. You're going to also need to educate your employees and build a program that's going to provide those quality metrics to help you get the proper leadership support that you need to maintain it. So these are all very good reasons why you're going to need to consider the CISO as a service offering. The key, however, is to ensure that you're considering the right reasons for your company and your company's risk tolerance. So knowing your organization and what's needed is extremely critical. So with that, let's talk a little bit about the variations that are in place here. So Focus Point offers an extremely wide range of options to cater to your organization's specific needs. So whether you need someone on site or remote, full-time or part-time, perhaps you just need an hourly help for a specific project, or it might be a combination of all of these things. So once you know what the need is and why you're looking at this service, our job is to work with you to right fit the person with your company. We know that the fit is critical, and we want to work with you to ensure that we go through a thorough vetting process for candidates and also with you to make sure that there's success no matter what that need is for your organization. One area that makes sense in this space is considering a contract for hire as well. This is kind of that try before you buy approach, where we write it directly into the contract that the person can be hired permanently at any time. And with our large pool of seasoned professionals with years of experience, you're guaranteed to find that perfect match, and we're here to help you. So we've talked through the reasons why you might want this service, the challenges, the various options available, but more importantly, I also want to touch on some of the things you want to consider to make sure that this is successful for you. First, and before moving forward with anything else, you have to absolutely understand the reasons why you need a CISO. What is the benefit to the business? Understanding that return on investment will also help you scope the best option for you to meet the goals. If your organization is simply looking for someone to update your policy framework, for instance, you probably don't need to pay a full-time executive level person to be on site to actually do that work. So don't overspend if you don't have to. However, if your organization does not feel that security is important, you may want a CISO to help build that business case and working with you to do that. But you also don't want to overcommit to others or even yourself that this CISO as a service person will be that silver bullet, because they can definitely move the dial. But ultimately, without your full leadership support, security programs are not going to be able to mature as quickly as one would like. So I can't stress enough the importance of validating the person's fit within your goals and the organization. So similar to what I said earlier, you need the right fit for meeting the goals of your organization around security and privacy, which also includes fitting into that company culture. So once that person's chosen, goals are identified, everything's good. If there's a team in place, you'll also want to ensure the CISO is integrated appropriately into that organization. For example, if this person is presenting to the board, they're going to need to meet with those key business leaders and other stakeholders in order to be effective as possible. If the CISO will be leading an existing security team, this person's also going to need to be very involved in their daily activities. This it's extremely important. It can be detrimental to the success of the organization if not done correctly. So that's where we get into the assimilation processes. And then finally, companies and their boards need to remember that ultimately they are responsible for their own security. A CISO, whether full-time, virtual, part-time, cannot shoulder that responsibility alone. So CISOs can mature programs, they will mature programs, but they also need the right support to do so. So remember that as you're looking at this service as well. So far we've covered quite a bit. Let's talk a little bit about next steps to get things started if you're interested in moving forward. So you might still be wondering if this offer is right for you. Everything should definitely start with that initial discovery conversation. So this is the first step where Focus Point can help you determine if this is a viable option for you. And we're going to also work with you to make sure we have the best fit for your situation. So for instance, going back to those full-time versus part-time and the various options associated with this service, we want to make sure that we're getting the right person in place for you. If you already know what, the service and what you're looking for and exactly what you need, that's great. Then, this discovery meeting or the call that we have will be extremely short, but it's still something I would highly recommend. So once that's done, it's time to interview the candidates. So we want to make sure that you are getting the right match for you, your goals, the company, the culture, etc. There'll be references that you'll want to at least talk to or potentially review. And we can do a lot of that background information for you so that the candidates and the information that you're getting is already vetted for you. Next, getting into that procurement or contracting, it's usually a pretty simple process, but it's really going to be dependent on the company and the processes that work for you. Then we draft the specifics around the deliverables and the accountabilities, and we move forward. You'll be improving that security or privacy program absolutely in no time. So I want to thank you for your time today. Certainly, feel free to contact me directly with any questions that you have about this presentation. The CISO as a service offering, any other privacy and security issue you may be facing as well. This is my passion, and I'm happy to discuss at any time. So thank you, and have a great rest of your day.